Okay? And you know what? Let's say, for example, taking drugs recreationally. Folks, taking drugs recreationally has got to be one of the stupidest things that you could ever do in your life. You're an idiot. I mean, people that, a lot of people, and here's the thing, a lot of good people accidentally get hooked on drugs because they're just prescription drugs. They're not street drugs. Okay, because prescription drugs can be very addictive. And people can be prescribed these things, and doctors keep prescribing it, and maybe they don't even warn them that, hey, this is only for short term. They just kind of keep them on it for months, and they can develop addictions to drugs. And let me tell you something, those addictions are not fun. You know, but they might get hurt really bad, and they need a painkiller, and then they get addicted, and it's horrible. I mean, there's all kinds of bad side effects. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but, you know, I had a single experience with this because I had my wisdom teeth pulled and I developed what's called a dry socket, also known as the worst pain imaginable. So I had this dry socket in my mouth that was so excruciatingly painful that I was taking a maximum dose of Oxycodone and ibuprofen and acetaminophen. Those three, I was cycling those. So each one lasted for 6 hours. So every 2 hours, I'd take another one. So it's like I take ibuprofen, 2 hours later, take acetaminophen, 2 hours later, take oxycodone, and just repeat. And I slept about 3 hours a night because I was in so much pain, I couldn't fall asleep. Even on all three of those drugs, I was writhing in pain. And it's not that I'm just some guy who just has no tolerance for pain. Before that, I had literally not taken a Tylenol for 10 years. I had taken no painkiller for the last 10 years up to that point. And then here I am just cycling max doses of those three, still writhing in pain. Okay. I was on that stupid oxycodone for 6 days total. And let me tell you something. That stuff is garbage. That stuff is horrible. Now, I mean, if somebody needs it, you know, to survive or whatever and not go insane, I get it. But let me tell you something. Just being on it for 6 days, that stuff did a number on my gastrointestinal tract, number one. And I'm not going to go into detail. But number two, when I quit taking it after only 6 days, I had extremely painful withdrawals after only taking it for 6 days. And the stuff was so nasty that I remember saying to people at the time, I said, man, how could anyone take this recreational? Are they insane? Why would anyone do this to themselves? This is horrible. But then you got people that just think it's fun to just take narcotics for no reason. Like they're literally just, hey, take a couple Vicodin. Hey, take some codeine. Wash it down with a beer. Hey, take a little bit of oxycodone, Oxycontin, or whatever. Folks, let me tell you something. You better stay away from that stuff, okay? Avoid it at all costs. Now, if you need it, you know, and you have to use some kind of a painkiller because you had surgery or, you know, you've been cut open or something, then yeah, you know, use what you've got to use. But man, use it sparingly and get off it as fast as you can. And by the way, out of those three drugs that I was taking, ibuprofen was the most effective. That was the best 2 hours, was the ibuprofen, you know, when I had that stuff fresh in my system. So ironically, the ibuprofen was much better at fixing that than the narcotic that they gave me. Looking back, I wouldn't have even taken it if I would have known how damaging it was going to be to my body, even in the course of just 6 days. There are people that are on it for months or even years. And it's so damaging. And look, I'm not condemning people who got prescribed something, but obviously I do think that if you've been on that stuff long term, you should really try to find a doctor to get you off that stuff if your doctor just keeps giving it to you because it's so damaging. But I will say this, if you're just going to go out and just start taking that stuff recreationally, you're an idiot, okay? There's no other way to put it. You know, you're at the bar, somebody slides a couple pills over to you, you're an idiot. Do not do it. Do not do it. Do not take drugs. It's so dumb. It's so damaging. It's so harmful. Don't go down that road. And look, well, I'm free in Christ, though. Folks, it's gonna punish you. The punishment's built in. God won't even have to punish you when you start taking that stuff. The drugs themselves will punish you. But God might even just add a little punishment on top, too, a little cherry on top as well. So I wouldn't mess with it. Lots of sins will just destroy you. Whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin.